Type 0, the fossil civilization. Imagine a species so primitive that it must burn the decayed, squished remains of prehistoric plants and dinosaurs just to keep its laptop screens glowing and its houses warm. Of course, this highly inefficient energy crisis represents the exact state of humanity today. Our home planet is surrounded by thousands of tiny, smoking oil rigs and thick, gray clouds. This is what we call a Type 0 civilization on the Kardashev Scale, which is a tool researchers use to rank intelligent life based on how much raw energy they can harness. At this starting point, we capture only a microscopic fraction of the massive solar energy our planet actually receives from its sun every second. And since we have absolutely no control over our global climate, tectonic shifting, or volcanic eruptions, our ongoing survival remains completely at the mercy of a chaotic planet. Our energy footprint shows a world choked by its own waste, leaving our critical infrastructure confined entirely within a thin atmospheric shell. It behaves exactly like a fragile infant taking its first steps, relying on a finite battery of resources that will eventually run out. Until we transition away from these dirty fossilized energy sources, we remain a highly vulnerable anomaly completely exposed to a single planetary extinction event. We are currently trapped in the infancy of intelligence, waiting to take our first real step. Type 1. The Planetary Masters. Suppose you could dial down a hurricane, entirely neutralize a massive earthquake, or harvest every single photon of sunlight hitting your planet. This level of complete environmental control represents the arrival of a Type 1 civilization. At this stage, the home world is a clean, perfect sphere wrapped in a neat geometric grid of global electrical lines. A Type 1 species has achieved complete planetary mastery, meaning they no longer rely on fossil fuels at all. Instead, they capture the entire energy output of their world, from global wind and tides to deep geothermal heat, controlling the global weather like a simple thermostat. Every river, current, and ray of sunshine is logged and put to work. Their progress shows a world where natural disasters have been entirely engineered out of existence, replaced by a stable planetary climate network. Now, because they can control volcanic eruptions and tectonic plates, they can easily support massive populations without harming their ecosystem. By bridging the gap between nature and technology, they have secured their world for millions of years, turning their home planet into a perfectly tuned machine and a secure launch pad for the cosmos. They are now in complete control of their physical destiny. Once a planet is completely mastered, the only direction left to look is outward. Type 2. The Stellar Architects. What happens when a civilization outgrows its home planet? Well, they build a colossal engineering project where their parent star is slowly wrapped in a dense network of interlocking solar collector panels to capture its entire light output, a structure known as a Dyson Swarm. The energy harvested by this massive satellite system is so vast that it can power stellar engines, giant, thrust-producing mirrors that use light pressure to physically steer their entire solar system through space to avoid cosmic hazards like nearby supernovas or roaming black holes. It behaves exactly as if they have transformed their sun into a steerable engine, pushing them away from danger. If we trace their infrastructure, we can see stellar-scale magnetic streams siphoning elemental plasma directly from the star's surface, a process known as star lifting to manufacture entirely new planets using the raw atomic matter to build real estate on demand, creating a custom solar system. This extreme level of engineering ensures that the species is structurally insulated from extinction, as no planetary scale threat can harm them. They have essentially transitioned from living on worlds to actively manufacturing them on an industrial scale. To a Type 2 civilization, a star is no longer an object of distant wonder, but a local battery, completely enclosed inside a grid of their own making. Type 3. The Galactic Empires. Imagine looking up at the night sky to find a vast, spiral galaxy where every star point is connected by active, pulsing energy lines. This galaxy-wide web is the reality of a Type 3 civilization, which has achieved interstellar colonization, utilizing the energy of hundreds of billions of stars across their galaxy. They travel using advanced propulsion systems and transmit data across light years using highly advanced spatial pathways. If we trace their systems, it behaves exactly like a biological neural network, where information and energy flow seamlessly between distant solar systems, transforming the entire galaxy into a single, interconnected superorganism. When a signal is sent from one edge of the galaxy to the other, thousands of stars light up in sequence, resembling a firing neuron. At this level of development, the civilization is capable of manipulating galactic structures, merging stellar nurseries, and siphoning energy directly from the supermassive black hole at the galactic center. Harnessing its immense gravity, they have essentially re-engineered the galaxy itself. In a galaxy where every star is utilized, the millions of light years of completely empty space between galaxies becomes the next massive abyss they must cross. Type 4. The Universal Gods. Suppose the very structure of space and time could be manipulated, allowing a species to influence the expansion of the entire cosmos. This universal scale of engineering is the domain of a Type 4 civilization. A Type 4 civilization has expanded far beyond their home galaxy to harvest the energy of the entire observable universe. They do not just colonize planets, they manipulate the mysterious invisible forces of dark energy and dark matter to reshape cosmic geometry. It is as if they are the programmers of reality, capable of rearranging entire superclusters of galaxies galaxies as easily as shifting points on a map. They can delay the heat death of their own universe by physically manipulating its expansion, slowing down the progress of thermodynamic decay to secure their long-term survival. By controlling the cosmic background radiation, they operate on a scale that stretches our mathematical models to their absolute limits, treating the entire cosmos as a single project. They govern the deep architecture of the cosmos, acting as the active managers of its spacetime coordinates, deciding which galaxies drift apart and which are pulled together. For a species that controls the cosmos, the boundary of our universe is the ultimate prison. Type V, the Multiversal Creators. Universes can be thought of as a cluster of soap bubbles floating in a dark room. Imagine stepping out of your bubble and physically climbing into another. This multiversal leap marks the peak of a Type V civilization. A Type V species has escaped the confines of our single universe, navigating through the boundaries that isolate parallel realities. They possess the technology to travel through parallel dimensions and alter the fundamental rules of physics inside other worlds, deciding how gravity or light behaves on a level indistinguishable from divinity. They harvest energy from the collisions of parallel branes, massive dimensional sheets floating in hyperspace, allowing them to siphon infinite power from the raw fabric of the multiverse. They can escape to a younger, warmer universe if their home universe becomes uninhabitable, ensuring their existence is no longer tied to the life cycle of a single cosmic bubble. They can trigger entirely new big bangs or close down decaying universes, treating individual cosmoses like files on a computer system, opening and closing them at will. Their perspective transcends the concept of three-dimensional history entirely, looking down on the multiverse as a flat sea of possibilities. By occupying the higher dimensional space between universes, they can monitor billions of realities simultaneously, watching cosmoses expand and die, ensuring their species endures forever across the infinite multiverse. Type VI, the Chronos Masters. Beyond multiversal navigation lies the domain of a Type VI civilization. If time is a physical coordinate rather than an irreversible river, a Type VI species treats the entire timeline across parallel realities as a navigable landscape. They are no longer confined to a single moment in time. By pulling past and future versions of themselves into the present, a single individual can instantly exist in thousands of places simultaneously, assembling an army composed entirely of themselves from different eras. To protect their homeworld from the natural decay of the cosmos, they construct temporal shields, siphoning energy directly from the extreme heat of the Big Bang to keep their local environment frozen in a permanent state of low entropy. If a conflict emerges, they do not fight it in the present. Instead, they manipulate causality like an editor reviewing a film reel, splicing and removing the causal thread in the ancient past so the threat never emerges, leaving their current timeline completely undisturbed. From this perspective, outside of time, the birth and death of entire universes look like brief, localized blips on an infinite map, rising and falling in seconds. By insulating themselves from the flow of time, they achieve absolute permanent stability, but at the cost of all physical consequence. Type VII, the Omniversal Architects. At the absolute peak of cosmic scales sits a Type VII civilization, an intelligence capable of sparking an entire multiversal framework from a single cosmic singularity that branches into custom physical systems. A Type VII species does not simply manipulate existing physics by altering local equations, they write custom physical laws from the outside. They design multiverses with 5 spatial dimensions, or worlds where time moves in multiple directions at once. To expand their domain, they generate new spatial emptiness where no space previously existed, continuously inflating the boundary of the omniverse. They can even construct realities where logical contradictions physically coexist, bending the rules of reason beyond human comprehension. They spawn infinite multiversal clusters like computer programs, testing how different constants of gravity and light interact. They preserve the underlying code of every collapsed reality inside an uncreated core, treating dead multiverses like archived libraries. Because they exist completely outside the fabric of physics, the collapse or destruction of an entire multiversal cluster has zero effect on their survival. They are no longer a part of the universe. They are the authors of it, operating at a scale that transcends the concept of existence itself.